audio check. I'm checking the chat to make sure audio is good. Play one. Dog right here wanting to be a part of the show. Only a slight distraction here from my compadre. Only a slight distraction. Play another one. Same album. Let's see. We may have played it last time, but I've been playing it a lot lately. Why not? One more? Do we play one more? go in and around the Junktown scenario. Playing notes. Phrasing. Phrasing is the name of the game. I'm going to grab a different guitar because this one's been kind of fun. I was playing it yesterday, and now I want to point out, as we switch guitars, I want to point out something. I think the bridge humbucker and overall evenness of the tellies is what I prefer. But this guitar has something really cool in the neck pickup. Multiple reasons. You know, it's got the Huff electronics in it. You kind of there you go, kind of see it. And it's a bit woolly on the bridge pickup. It doesn't have the definition that the tellies have, but it does have this thing, which is really nice. I'm gonna pull this down. Check this out. Nothing like that neck pickup Strat thing. Yeah. So it's a really good sounding guitar. I like the way this one sounds. It's got its own vibe and its own thing. I wanted to talk about phrasing today. And I wanted to talk about how you can be a better guitar player today. Like, when you sit down to play the guitar and you noodle, as we all do, are you living on the edge, or are you just playing the things that you already know? Are you exploring different parts of the fretboard? Or are you just living in the safe spots and just playing the rehashed patterns over and over again? With the tunes that I played earlier, they're heavily improvised, and sometimes the solos are better than others, which is fine. But getting the most out of the guitar and getting the most out of what you've got. If you know, oftentimes we confuse the geometry and the notes on the fretboard with phrasing, and we confuse with the notes that we know are right with already. It's like we don't need to explore that area anymore. For example, we're going to take this B minor section. If we were to take this section of the guitar and say, okay, we can only kind of live maybe here and here, back to here, and maybe here. There's enough there. There's enough there to make really, really great phrases. You see what I'm kind of getting at? Okay. Yeah. So when I'm thinking about the knowledge that I know, right? If we say minor pentatonic right there in that box, understanding that the notes are 1, maybe 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. Again. That's just the minor pentatonic box, but we can add so much grease to this to make it sound fresh, to make it sound important, to make it sound like the guitar has got something to say. And I think when I posted the header, which is play better guitar today, like be better right now. Simple things, putting the care into the phrase the way a singer would, okay? Putting the care into the phrase and not just flopping your hands around, not just playing the guitar with your fingers and then letting your ear catch up, but playing the guitar with your ear and your heart and your imagination and telling the hands what to do. Like, for example, let's just play 7-1. This is the most basic. This is like basic bitch 101, right? Mel Bay, page 4. We're going to take A and play in B. We got the key of B. Key of B. So we're going to play A to B. Now, if we play this like and I'm not calling anybody names, but if we play it like a dingus, it's just not very interesting. There's not a lot of love on that, you know? But if we play this in a cool way, A to B can set up a massive amount of cool factor. We have a lot of gain. Let's go no gain first, right? Dude, just that is awesome sounding to me. That sounds so much better than like Mel Bay. People say, I know my pentatonics, and then they just play it for me like this. Knowing what the right fret is doesn't equate to evoking great playing. Playing a billion notes, for sure, does not equate to great playing. I'm using the metrics of great in what I like, okay? I think it's important to set that groundwork. That's like, I like what I like. You like what you like, you know? If we all liked the same things, we would all be trying to imitate Holdsworth, and we would all just sound like Holdsworth, right? We don't all sound like Holdsworth because some of us don't like Holdsworth. Some people do like Holdsworth. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. However, if I think you don't like Holdsworth, I don't think maybe you've heard enough of him. There's something in there, you know, but just, you know, you could just be like, I don't like that. That's cool. There's music that I don't like. But when I'm using the parameters and the terms of great, good, killer, awesome, sauce, you know, like those are all parameters that I equate to good playing, that things that I like. So when I hear these kind of big, dramatic ornaments, it's things that make things sound musical. And again, we're delving heavily into the aesthetic of what somebody likes or what somebody doesn't like. Somebody could definitely like this sound. That's cool if they like that. I won't. I want you to make my eyebrow kind of raise up. Now, the next part of this would be in the right hand. And I know this doesn't seem like it, but if you want to play better guitar today, add the grease into the right hand. You know, Greg Koch's going to call it gristle. Travis Toy is going to call it sass. Whatever it is, it's ornamentation. And you got to play a note with some kind of character that makes it feel alive. Now, listen, the imperfections of this stuff is what makes it feel alive, in my opinion. In my opinion, when things get too clinical, they start to delve too deeply into a MIDI file. And by that I mean, like, it sounds like a MIDI file. I don't like that sound. I like the guitar to have character to it. And one of the things that is very guitar is this sound. The sound of the pick hitting the strings. This kind of... I'm still just trying to live right here in this pentatonic world. That way nothing looks too crazy and it's not too far out. Just raking the notes. That sounds more dramatic, doesn't it, than just this. So then when I lighten the touch and I play less with the pick, you hear a character on the notes that are pull-offs, right? Switch to the back pickup, the same note that had this could go to, and this attack, now I'm leaning into how harsh that sound is. Basically, the harsher and the brighter the sound is, instead of trying to steer away from it. I'm using the term steering for the right hand. When things are too bright, it's just so abrasive, we want to steer out of it. That has a tendency to make things sound puny to me. Like if I have this aggressive, bright bridge pickup tone, if I play into it really lightly, it sounds really puny to me. Let's just use the minor pentatonic. Now, if I lean into how bright it is, and I lean into how aggressive the tone is, and I really dig in with the pick, now it sounds really nice. Now the abrasiveness of the plays into itself. Again, you can, with the neck pickup, it's a little more, you could do both. That sounds really aggressive and sassy, but if I wanted to go really sexy with that same tone, oh, what did I do? Something got caught. I think this got tangled in there. That sounds nice. We can roll out the volume and play into it even more. check that tuning real quick at G string. So now you're seeing that the all I've adjusted is just the volume knob, and as the tone gets softer and smoother, kind of playing into that. Right? Right? Really nice. Now I'm going to slowly increase the burn. Starts to sound, it just naturally starts to sound better. Carrying, again, to circle back at the point I'm trying to make, using very simple harmony and very simple sense of melodicism. And I saw my buddy Danny, who was in Marvin, make a great post the other day, and it was a kind of a smack talk thing, as he likes to do. And this was against guys that constantly talk about melody and melodicism. It's all about the melody. And then they play no melody. And then he made a really funny video. He's like, just don't say that you like melody. You like being modern. Don't say that you like melody. You clearly don't like it. I'm a guy that likes melody, and I think a lot of things that tend to make something melodic is stuff that's very simple. That's not always, it's not a permanent thing. I think Bach and Beethoven can be very melodic and be very complex. I think, Charlie Parker, and I think there's a lot of melodic guys out there that aren't simple, but in general, oftentimes, melodies that stick with the general human species, the general public, the generalization of humanity, we tend to like things that are simple, We can recognize that. You know, we can recognize simple melodies. They stick with us. They have a lot of impact, right? Let's try. That's something that repeats itself in every cadence of that melody. And we've been playing this a lot lately. Break down this song without all the chords. If we just have the singable melody. Right, that would be the single note. It's how the melody interacts and shifts itself on its importance of the notes that you're playing and how they relate to the chords that come around them. I think that's where the mastery of melodicism really lives. And to play memorable things that people like and think are memorable, you have to be clever with how the scale that you're playing, and this is a compositional thing, you have to be clever with how the scale you're playing can invert and change its purpose based around the notes that are being used around the chords. So let's take in Hallelujah. It's really brilliant, obviously, one of the most popular songs of all time. And this G to A scenario. This G to A scenario, it changes with the chords. So G is the fifth, the C, and then it goes to the root of A, right? But now watch what happens to the A note as it moves to the F chord. So that now becomes the third, which is really lush, and then it becomes the suspension over the G. So this is like a G sus. It's like a G add 9. G suspend, G. Sus 2. There's a minor. He even says in the lyrics, minor fall and the major lift. The C over the minor is the third of C minor, of A minor. And then in F, it becomes the fifth of F. Learning that your major scale. This major scale in the key of C this major scale changes the way that it feels based on what's in the root, what's in the bass line. So if I have, that sounds very inside and very safe. Let's go and play that over an F. It's going to start to drift a little bit. It's got a very drifting kind of sound. There's the anchor. It feels more at home. This melody is just... Now we do the F. secondary dominant. Now let's play it over the 6th chord. It's starting to sound really triumphant, right? Done is hopefully we're aiming the guitar playing to be more as a secondary aspect of what our main goal is. And our main goal is to play music, play musical, play musicality, have good phrasing, have good tone, be a better guitar player by proximity of being a better musician, right? Understanding what makes music sound good and what makes music sound gratifying, and the tension and the release of just the way a cadence falls. You know, I'm trying to not use too many scholastic terms. I've found that when people have too many scholastic terms flying around, they start to get disinterested, or they start shoving it aside like they don't need it. There's a line that I really hate. I'm not going to learn any theory. It'll mess up my guitar playing. I got some news, brother. You don't need any help messing up your guitar playing. You're doing just fine on your own. Some theory can help you, you know. And by that, I don't mean that theory is investing into memorization of definitions. That's not the goal of theory. The goal of theory is to just understand that as I'm improvising through C major, the things that are going to be inside and feel have a gravitas to them and landing points versus the things that feel outside in the key of C major, right? If I want very inside, very safe, feels good though. See, I played that same melody again. E, D, C, right. A little high for me. All very inside. Now, if we start using chords that are not in the key of C major, now we want to be here. You know, I used a bunch of outside stuff to move us around to get us down a half step, right? And hang on, this thing is doing this signed out thing again. I really, really despise it when it does this. Sorry. There we go. Now it's now we're good. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. So I'm going to make a point, and then I'm going to start getting into some questions. The point is that all of this information around major scale information and around simplicity, repeating factors, and ornamentation. Those are the main building blocks for playing melodically and having great phrasing. Having something that repeats is a good thing. If we take the melody from Reach, which I played earlier, that needs to be repeated. Like, that obviously needs to be repeated. That, now we can focus on the ornamentation of how I'm playing it in the right hand. Is it played like this? No, it's not. It's played in kind of one elongated motion, you know. One pick stroke that carries all three notes. That's the way to do it. Adding these chords in on the second lap, now that the drums are a little bit bigger, you start feeling a little more heroic and a little more intimidation is the right word, maybe. I want there to be a sense of what is out there just beyond the distance. That's what I want with this song. What is just beyond that next frame? And I think that there's a sense of power in slowly increasing the amount of harmony that the listener hears. This is all just compositional tactics, right? And being aware of the story that you're trying to tell. So now with these chords, instead of just playing them, you know, it's very much, you know, use some of the bar if you've got bar. Full vibrato on the chord. Sorry. So, like, as I'm navigating the melody, these little flourishes might start showing up, and they're not being kind of calculated in my mind as a series of notes. Like, I'm not thinking, you know, 9, 3, 1. I'm not thinking about all that. I'm just thinking of, right? Substituting a few notes crammed together in a smaller distance for one notes, like substituting 16th notes for 8th notes in a phrase can add a different kind of color and a different kind of ornament. For example, if I just want to go, that could be versus and that line, that is just a substitution for having a million ways to wrap up and close a train of thought in your phrasing. Having a million ways to put some punctuation on the end of a line really is one of the most beneficial things you could ever do. Another way to end that line. Another way. You know, another way to end it. I was trying to get over there a little bit. You know. All of these different tags give me improvisational options when the time comes and we're playing maybe Little Wing or playing Ended as Lovers. You know, these kind of songs, they can have a million different ways to add cool stuff to the... you're playing in that style, sorry, I was just kind of like noodling, kind of lost my train of thought. But when you're playing in that style, having those different tags can really offer, so much in how you want to wrap up a phrase. Because the front of things is kind of like setting up the what if, what's the story going to do? And the back of it really sets into like how we're going to move forward with it. Okay, now let's hit some questions. That's enough of that. That's my tangent for today. That's my lesson, my tangent. Okay. Here we go. In some comments. First of all, thanks for hanging out. These are live. I'm doing these live in the moment, in real time. And so, there's AI me will show up later somewhere down the internet, but not today. This is real me. And I appreciate you guys in chat hanging out, doing these live streams with me. And little housekeeping. Obviously, if you enjoy the channel, I can't stress this enough. The only way I'm able to do these live streams and make content for Instagram and all the things I'm able to do is because of the support on my Patreon. I'm not trying to do a sales pitch, but if you want access to about 700 videos, all kinds of different flavors, weekly live in-person Zoom call masterclasses, all of that is on Patreon. And Lost Inches says, Andy, your timing is off, but you're improving so much. Congratulations. Cool, man. Whatever. It's like, whatever. Nobody's ever happy. I think Truth and Lie is the first big statement. Correct me if I'm wrong. What is your most played guitar? Probably the brown double humbucker one. I think like a horn player. This is coming from Earl. Earl says, I think like a horn player when it comes to phrasing. Horn players must breathe, and this is what informs phrasing. Guitar and keys are unique, and the breathing does not dictate phrasing. Your thoughts? I mean, nothing you're saying is incorrect, in my opinion. Horn players have some cheat moves where they can like do these double breathing things and have these just walls of notes too. I think just being cognizant of where you have a phrase start and stop is what maybe you're equating to the breathing aspect. Okay, Nick Russo, any tips on how to tune drop D quickly with the floating bridge? There's no such thing. So that just, kind of get that out of your mind. The quickest way to get to drop D, if you're playing a guitar with a floating bridge, is take this guitar off and put it in a stand and grab a guitar that is already in drop D. That's the only way that you can have the floating bridge. Alex is in here and he says, I have a question regarding the movement on the neck. I really dig your system of intervals and horizontals, octaves. Only thing I'm interested in is how you move descending. Are you seeing the octaves from the same fingering points as when you're ascending? The fingering points is not really what I'm kind of thinking about so much as it is how I can get one grip to make sense. Like when I say the fingering points, I don't know if I'm misunderstanding you, but like let's say we're in the key of B. We're in the key of B and we have that right there. I'm not always thinking about putting my first finger on this A right here. That could be a third finger. If we have... The point of it could be a first finger right here. It could be either one. It's really about seeing when you descend or you're climbing upwards for that matter. When you're traveling anywhere on the neck horizontally, left to right or right to left, it's that when you land at a point, you see all of the information on the side of the hand. So if you moved to this block, let's say you're moving from this area. Say you move from this area down to this area. The point is if we moved with the first finger, or anytime I'm moving with the first finger, I'm seeing the information on this side of the hand. When I'm moving with this side of the hand, and say I'm going to use the same kind of swap this thing, and I'm going to go to here. Let's say I'm going to move from here to here, and I'm going to use this side of my hand. Well, now I got to be cognizant that I want the playing that when I land here on that side of the hand. See what I mean? Now I'm going to have all of this side of the hand. So whichever side of the hand I'm moving on, I've got that amount of playability. So if I'm sliding on my first finger, I know that I'm going to be doing the play on this side. And so what that forces you to do is get a mastery of each side of the frets and the where the geometry is lying on the guitar, right? That makes sense to you? Danny's got a great point here. Danny97. He says, all of this is very interesting, but none of it's useful for going viral while miming to Instagram videos. Brother, you got that right. You have got that so right. It's unbelievable how much the miming thing is a thing. It's just unbelievable. And it's also, here's something that I think is really funny to me. Guys spend so much time editing and miming a video to create some music that I still think sounds like butt cheeks. So it's like, it's super complicated. You've mimed it. Every note is perfect, and it still just sounds like butt cheeks. Like it's not good. So you put all this effort, into building the world's fastest bathtub. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta, crazy nitrous powered engine. You got all the big wheels, and it's, everything's crazy. But you're driving a bathtub. It's like, so what? You got the world's fastest Volkswagen Beetle. Nobody cares, right? I think that's what a lot of that style of internet guitar playing, I don't know what to call it, but internet guitar playing, where you're not really focused on songs. And I don't think this is a boomer mentality. Let's jump in right there, because there's players that are not boomers that are putting out some great stuff. Obviously Mateus Asado is a great melodic guitar player. Great sense of melody and touch and tone and so much good stuff in there. Not a boomer, right? I think that Larry Basilio is another great melodic player. Not a boomer. You know what I'm saying? So I think here's a hot take. This is a hot take, because I'm neither boomer nor the youngsters. I'm right in the middle, And I think the hot take is, the kids that are miming and playing and faking the superhero MIDI sounding stuff that's like, whatever, super shred tappities, I think that they use the word boomer like a crutch. Now, to be very clear, I'm not referring to Animals as Leaders, Polyphia, Periphery. I'm not referring to any of those bands when I say that. I think those guys have a thing that's theirs, and it feels real. Okay, what I'm talking about is the kids online that are just mimicking and miming, and they kind of get put on blast. Like that stuff is what I'm talking about. And I think a lot of those guys quick to fire off in the comments. I know there's been a lot of controversy with that kid, that Shred Turtle kid. Like, I don't know what he does or what he's about. I watched his videos. I was like, cool, whatever. I don't care. And that's not a diss to you. If you see this, Shred Turtle, I'm not hating on you. You just make something that I don't like, right? Now, what I do think is interesting is that when guys of that age group say, oh, this boomer, it's like, brother, that's a crutch for you not being good at this other stuff. If you get on stage with Andy Timmons or Jared James Nichols or Phil X or Eric Gales or Greg Koch or any of these super players, and you've spent your life miming and creating mimed content and trying to make the most insane, it's like full throttle everything shred, and you get on stage and you realize your tone is butt cheeks, because whatever patch that you make that allows you to mime and tap and sweep pick, those patches on your modelers sound like butt cheeks in a room. They sound terrible. They do not sound good at all. I don't think it's a thing where the modeler sounds bad. I think it's how you've dialed it in. It sounds like butt cheeks because you can get it to fake easier, right? I think the next thing is you start to realize that all this pre-composed, written mini etude videos that do the trick on Instagram, wow, look here, buy this, it's like very much like a ShamWow commercial. That style of playing when it's time to walk on stage with the big boys, that style of playing sounds like butt cheeks. I'm not saying that you can't have pyrotechnics. I love pyrotechnics. I think we all do. Guthrie Govan has no problem whipping out pyrotechnics in an adult environment, and it be awesome. Mind-numbingly awesome, right? And Andy Timmons has plenty of pyrotechnics. Greg Cox got pyro. Like, everybody's got the horsepower. But you start realizing that if your entire style is built on preconceived shred licks, then you crumble. You absolutely fold when it's time to get on stage with the pros. And that hurts. So, again, I'm making a point now that having strong sense of melody and phrasing and sensibility, that will always translate to great musicality. That will always translate to a stage and a live audience. Whether you're playing the local bar, local club gig, or you're playing Madison Square Gardens, it really doesn't matter. All this stuff translates. Having good touch, good tone, good playing, good feel, that stuff just makes things feel good and sound good in any environment. It's kind of, to quote the mighty Jimi Hendrix, you can't build castles on sand. You can't just go, all right, I've made all these get rich quick kind of videos where it's like brrr, and it's a MIDI file playing along with it with really bombastic drums and everything's on 11. It's crazy. That the reality is that there's a threshold at the top, just like there's a threshold at the bottom. You can only go so loud and so fast, just like you can only play so slow and so quiet. There comes a point where once you dip past this threshold, it's nothing, and there's no music being played. Once you go too high, it's cacophony, not in the Paul Gilbert way. It is cacophony in the, might as well just like put our head in a trash can and beat it with a metal pipe and call it art. That's not art, you know what I mean? If it is, it's art that only you like, which I champion you for that. Go make crap that you like, you know what I mean? What I'm here to kind of, share my opinions on is, and hopefully help you guys become better players, is how to anchor simple tools to allow the things that you know how to play to give them longevity and give them more spins, give them a longer lease on life. You have 35 ways to descend down the minor pentatonic scale, right? Versus thinking of everything from like down, up, down, up, down. Everything's played in the same way. Having all these ornaments and decorations, to go with your chops, go with your licks, right? Be well-rooted, strong foundation, right? So Kaboom22 says, is that a Lizzie Hale Explorer behind you? Why, yes, it is. I am a fan of Hailstorm, especially their first few records. And I think that's one of the best looking Explorers out there in the game. And I had to find it used because they don't make it anymore. They don't offer this thing anymore. And I think it's so cool looking. I just think it's just a wonderfully cool looking guitar. I play it in Skank Banger. And it's just awesome looking. Okay. Let's hit some... here we go. Stuff is getting removed. What is happening? Why are people acting crazy? I love that, though. There's a part of me that feels like I'm a real streamer, and I'm actually a real streamer when people start, raising hell in the chat. We're actually doing it for real. You know what I mean? Okay, here we go. A couple more. Try to burn through some of these questions. The doggo is here. Yes, Kari, behold, there she is in all of her glory. How would you do Hot Wired by Brent Mason in a style like Joe Satriani? I wouldn't. I'm not being dismissive. I just wouldn't do that. I like Brent Mason and I like Joe Satriani. And where those two worlds would collide, I wouldn't use either one of their songs, their guitar instrumentals, to be played in the style of the other guy. I would take what I like from Brent and I would take what I like from Joe and I would craft my own song. That's how I would handle that. Ozark says, I view theory as explanations rather than rules, which has helped me get sounds I like and encouraged me to explore. Yeah, sure. That's great. I mean, there's no really wrong approach to it. Theory can definitely be a key to unlock things that have been just out of reach, though, as well, in addition to. My best improvisation practice sessions are always when I slow almost all the way down and make every note the most important one. Absolutely. As you move that around, Candyman 21, the Candyman 21, as you move that around, the tempo, try to get it where the tempo's not dictating that line of thought. Try to give it where the tempo does not dictate your carrying of the note. You should care about every note at every tempo, right? And no matter what speed we're cooking at, the quality of the note and the phrasing should maintain. Now, it will have to wiggle to accommodate the tempo, but you see what I'm kind of getting at, right? Chris Marin 9419 says, what's the best way to book a lesson with me? Should be able to change modes. Sorry, let me read this again. What is the best book or lesson? Sorry, I misread that. What is the best book or lesson you should learn to be able to change modes when playing, or if you use a major harmony and shift to another mode? I don't think of music in modes per se. I think of it in what are the chord changes and what intervals fit over that chord. Now, that can be done modally. That's just not how I'm thinking about it. Let's take 8 days a week. We have D, which is our one chord. We have 2 major. Now, 2 major is not in the key of D, is it? So when we play the D major scale, that 2 should be a minor. Minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, half diminished 7. There we go. Okay? Or diminished 7. Diminished, yeah. When I think of 8 days a week, over this 2 chord, I'm going to play a note that's not in the key of D. You see how I started using things outside of the major scale. That can be justified from a modal standpoint. You could say, yeah, now I'm switching into a Lydian mode from D to D Lydian. But I don't think of it that way. I'm thinking of it from a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And now over the 2 chord, I'm seeing that as a E7. So that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. That could also be 1 in the key of D. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4. You know, and I don't care about what mode that might be or might not be. I only care about the interval structure that's going to make it sound good, as I said, over that 2 major chord. A really long answer. Sorry about that. That's how I think of it. Why not 4? Why not, says Andy. Tube freak here. I took the day off just to catch the live show. Thanks. Cheers, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for hanging out with us. This week's masterclass on Patreon, we might do that on Friday or Saturday because I will be out with Gary LaVox. We'll be doing a tour. We'll be playing up in Minneapolis this week. It's going to be great. And Yeah, so it won't be on Wednesday. However, I will be getting footage and be doing some backstage live streams from Minneapolis via Patreon. So, just as a heads up as those things. If you're playing how many bars are to how many bars in a song, just with playing a lick riff to riff, I don't really understand that question. If you're playing how many bars are to how many bars in a song, I don't understand what you're asking me. I'm trying to just form a phrase that has the correct chord tones landing where I want them to as the chords change. I don't know. Do you usually improvise over standards, bebop, fusion in your guitar routines? Or was there a time where you used to do that then? Improvisation has always existed in my vocabulary because improvisation is such a huge part of bluegrass music and country music. So anything gets improvised with me. Anything. Everything can be improvised. Little rap guy, I don't know what is happening, but let me just put some advice out there to you. I don't know what you've been saying because the messages are deleted, but I will say this. If you come in our chat and you veer off topic, that can be okay. If you come in our chat and you veer off topic into things that can be highly controversial in a bad way, we're talking the big ones, politics and religion and all this stuff, keep that out of that chat. We're here to talk about guitar. If you want to talk about politics, call your congressman. If you want to talk about religion, call your preacher. You know, it's not what we do here. We talk about guitar because I'm a guitar player. So let's try to keep it on topic here. At least within the realm of the word polite. Let's just be polite. One warning is all you get. Okay, not talking about the D'Addario possible AI drama, are we? Deja YouTube, or is it just a line in the sand of sterile, lifeless, overly processed MIDI style that is a legit performance? Wow, I love that. I did see the hot topic on D'Addario. I have to say this so no one thinks that there's any nepotism. And also, I have to say this out of respect for my relationship with D'Addario. I am a D'Addario artist. I have all the stuff. I use the strings. I have the picks. I use their stuff. I've used it for years, and I like their products. The most important thing is their strings can withstand my sweat. I use the excess strings. That's not me shilling their product. I don't get a kickback, unfortunately. They could always pay me something, and I'd do it way more often. But they support me by giving me these strings. This is not some big industry secret. I feel like it's common knowledge that if you have a career, then you are probably going to have endorsements. So, now, on to the AI thing. Boy, I don't know who's driving their ship, because the people that make strings are obviously not the people that handle social media. The people that I deal with in artist relations, I don't think they overlap too much with social media. Now, I could be wrong there, but D'Addario has multiple branches of how they work, just like any other company. When you make automobiles, you have people that specialize in the electrical side of it. You have people that specialize in the suspension. You have people that specialize in the engine department, interiors, all different places. So, I want to say this honestly. I don't know who was in charge of handling that publicly. I think it was handled very poorly. One thing that started happening was there was a lot of divergence. There was a lot of blocking comments. There was a lot. Not that we don't do that. Chuck, just block Little Rap Guy. You're entitled. It's your house. You can block whatever you want. I think not coming at that thing head on bit him in the butt. However, I don't know the guitar player. I don't know what he does. I don't know if it's real or not. I have no idea. I will say this. The style of music that was used to promote those strings, I don't even play. Like 8-string chuggedy math rock is not what I do. In general, I don't like it. It doesn't speak to me. It doesn't make me feel a certain way. It it's fine for all of the people that are into it. I think if y'all are into it, go get them. Cool. I like what I like. And I bet that people that play chuggity math rock on 8 strings, I bet that they don't like banjos and mandolins. I like banjos and mandolins. So we all like different things. But that is my opinion on it. And when that came out and I heard it and I saw the ad, I was like, whatever. I don't care. And I kept about my business. I just kept chugging along. I didn't realize that in just a week, it exploded, and it was all on everybody's pages, and everybody's got an opinion on it, and it's this whole thing. I definitely think when you start poking at AI, you start poking at it as an artist, you got to be very careful. It's like handling uranium or something. You know what I mean? It's very volatile, nuclear kind of toolkit. That's why I like to live stream, is because there's no AI involved, So, interesting topic. That's my opinion on it, and that's my thoughts on it. Candyman says, if I join the masterclass before I have Wednesdays off to actually join in, y'all don't mind if I just lurk in the background, do you? Dude, here's the thing. The masterclasses are filmed and recorded courtesy of one of our Patreon members, Jay. Shout out to Jay. And he puts the recording in the link, so you can constantly hang out and interact, even if you don't want to just jump in on the microphone and talk. So it's a very great environment. So yeah, that's what that is. So here we go. Rolling down EJ's sensibility rules. Yeah, it sure does. Shred sounds better when tastefully used, not consistently being played. That's how I feel too. I feel like if it's something as special, when something is a special hot lick and you've cooked up some shreddy goodness, if it's like the peak of the roller coaster, if you're constantly blowing, then it's not very special, is it? I think that's kind of the 60,000 foot view of it all. Okay, Dustin says, when you say that it translates, why is it whenever you see people play, the oohs and ahs come from the audience when the shreddy stuff happens? I disagree completely, Dustin. I've been in too many rooms with a sexy ballad and it feels like it's just going to fall apart and it's so fragile. And then at the end of the song, the crowd erupts. I don't think it requires shred fast stuff to be the oohs and the ahs. As a matter of fact, I think on the bigger the audience gets and the more commercial the music is, the more the oohs and ahs happen around a really great, soft, delicate thing. Let's think about, Chris Stapleton doing the national anthem. Let's think about, again, on Chris Stapleton, him and Justin Timberlake doing Tennessee Whiskey. These are not shreddy fast things. You're using the example of Mateus Asado playing Pure Imagination at Bruno Mars. Great melody and harmony, but the crowd only roars when he shreds. I think it's out of respect. The crowd's not going to roar when something is soft. That's the tension building. You know what I mean? You're building that tension, and the crowd wants to clap because they love it so much. And then when he shreds, that's the release moment for them. And that's a great example of like pulling and yearning at the audience to get them to push and pull with you. And when you have the loud thing, that's when the crowd erupts. I think that is not equating to audience reaction only to the fast stuff. If he would have sat on the edge of the stage and just blow the whole time, I think the attention span of the audience would be very small and nobody really care after about 30 seconds. You have to work the audience. And I think that's what, when he blows a fast lick, that's where the crowd feels like it's okay for them to be loud, right? That's just my opinion. Could we see JSW Stella? Could we see your first guitar, please? Yeah, actually you can. Let me take this one off, and we'll grab the first guitar. My very first guitar ever. First electric guitar. It doesn't have good strings on it, by the way. Hope I don't wake up the dog. She's very happily asleep. This is my first guitar. This is a Fender Telecaster right here, and gunmetal blue, a really great color, and just a bare bones working man's Telecaster. And I put every single nick and scratch and ding and dent on this guitar. Every single little thing. And I need to play it more. I really can't believe like how far things have gone. Like, it's kind of wild. Wild. Playing in Minneapolis this week with one of the biggest country artists that is in history. And then it all kind of started right here with this. So, my love for Tellies. We should probably do this color in an Andy Wood model at some point. Yeah. That's it. First guitar. Yeah. Very, very sentimental. Now, let's wrap up with just a couple more questions, and we'll call it on that. Aaron Cole, he's saying, on that note, I am someone, he's speaking in first person, that has good technique, and over the past few months, I've become aware that my phrasing is big old butt cheeks. I guess, do you have any tips on how to break these habits? So, Aaron, the first thing that I would do is take an inventory of the music that I like. And then I would look at the music that I like and say, do I like this because it is complex? Or do I like this on a more emotional level? For example, when I listen to what's a great one? When I listen to Elton John and I hear him sing Rocket Man, or if I hear Elton John sing Benny and the Jets, or if I'm listening to Michael McDonald, I don't like it because it's complex and it makes me think about music. I like it because it makes me feel a way. It's emotional, and I like the way that I feel when I hear it. At that point, if I were you, I would take those songs that are in that stack of things that you like because they make you feel a way. Like Bob Seger. I love Bob Seger, and it just makes me feel a certain way. At that point, I would take the Bob Seger songs and I would learn all the chords and all the melodies that he sings. That's what I would do. That's what I have done in my life. Karam says, Andy, is there a song you felt was a key moment that was technique for you? Like you felt it really made you improve? Yeah, I mean, learning anything from Steve Morse or Eric Johnson. And when I say anything, I mean learning anything from those guys. Learning Manzanita from Tony Rice. Learning Dixie Breakdown from Mark O'Connor. Learning Cliffs of Dover, working on Cliffs always. Learning some John Petrucci stuff and Dream Theater stuff, obviously. Learning Too Many Notes and Stress Fest. I mean, I can't dilute it down to one singular song. I think that's maybe the bigger takeaway, is that when you try to distill things down to one moment in time, you're kind of cutting off everything else that's got its influences on you. And you got to realize that it's all of it that makes you who you are and what kind of player you are. My knees hurt. He says E minor, bro. G sharp is not in the key of D. Play that one. I mean, yeah, that's because it's a major. It's a major 2. Yeah, so you have to play that. When you go D major to E major, do you not move from a D triad to an E triad? I think that's a very simple way to do it. But when you're thinking of it bigger than triads, there's going to be other notes that you want to have access to. Like over the key of D, G is not in the triad. Over the key of E, A is not in the triad. But I want access to those notes. So thinking of it from sheerly a triad point, you're kind of limiting yourself. Sahar's in the house. Hey, man, how are you, dude? He says, you never got into the synergy stuff. Any reason why you've been avoiding it? Not true. I have the Synergy rig right around the corner. It's just not wired into my amp wall. And there's a reason for this. All of the amps here are the real thing. Okay. And this isn't being dismissive of Synergy. But if I want a Synergy, and one of the models that I like is a diesel model, why in the world would I use that? There's a diesel. If I want the Bogner model, why would I do that? There's a Bogner. If I want the Fender model, there's a real Fender 63 Deluxe Reverb up there. Like, Synergy is great as an analog Axe effects. That's kind of the way to look at it. And if you want multiple things in a rig at once, very much a live tool. That's the way I think about Synergy. Not to say that it can't sound great in the studio. Of course it can. I just think their whole business model is built on these modules that emulate other things. Now, if I were to hook up my Synergy rig in this mega rig that I've got going on over here, the things that I would be the most interested in would be like the Steve Vai module, because I don't have anything that's the Steve Vai amp. You see what I mean? That's my reasoning. Where in Minneapolis are you playing? St. Paul with Gary LeVox. Where do I get tickets? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's private or not either. So I just know that's where we're playing. What's your current favorite chord progression? Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers. Just D. G minor C. I just like it. Sounds good. Kaboom 22 in the house. What's your favorite speakers in your cabs these days? Easy answer. I always come back to the G1265. I go out and I some classically ladies. That's cool. I like those. EV12L. I like that. That's cool. I go over here and Redback is cool. But that G1265, very good. I like it. Is that a Steel Panther Pocket Kitty on your mantle? It is, Jeff. And I did a video on it. And it stays up there because it's really funny. And the fart pedal stays next to it because that's also really funny. Victor Garcia, very hot topic right here. Do you think Fender cares about artists nowadays? Ooh. I think Fender is just business now. Beautiful and great guitar, but they want influencers, not artists. Fender's a big company. I think there's guys in that company that live and die on their artists. I know some. I'll tell you this right now. Mike Tempesta, one of the GOATs. I love Mike. He's been very good to me over the years. We've worked a lot together. We've done a lot of shiprocks where EVH has been on the boat per my request. Mike is incredible. Artist relations, love him. Technically Fender, even though it's EVH. I think there's also another Michael that works over there and a James that work over there. I'm not going to disclose last names because that's in bad taste. But they've been very good to me. And there was a baritone used on Shoot the Sun Down, and they provided that baritone. And I think there's a lot of guys that really care about artists at Fender. I do. I think there's some C-suite, executive level people that are living and dying by analytics and spreadsheets and SKU numbers. And they don't realize that that's not what sells guitars. Guitar manufacturers and guitar buyers, the customer. I'm one. I buy guitars. All we do is trade people. Like, as someone who has a signature model guitar, I am very aware that if somebody has an Andy Wood model guitar, there's a 90% chance that it's not their only guitar. Most people that own a PRS own another guitar of some kind. You know what I mean? Most people don't own one guitar. Most average guitar buyer, your meat, the soul of the community, the soul of the guitar consumer. And I think Fender doesn't see that. And Fender is looking to, Fender as the C-suite execs that I'm talking about, not really pointing at any one person because I don't know the entire list. You know, one thing, if I was king of the world, I would walk into Fender, into an executive boardroom meeting, and I would just talk with everyone in that boardroom. And then I would know in that boardroom who's not the guy. I can tell you that right now. You know, Ford and Carroll Shelby have had this relationship for years, and Ford's like, we're not going to renew with Carroll Shelby. And I just want to walk into the Ford boardroom and go, who in the F is the idiot, moron that thinks you don't need to renew your license with Carroll Shelby? They don't get it. Those people don't get it. And those people also have these deluded aspirations where they think that they're going to take a company like Fender and turn it miraculously into $1 billion company. It's never going to be $1 billion company. It's never going to be it. Fender, if you see this, I got some bad news. You're never going to be $1 billion company. The good news, now, scaling for inflation, there might be a day where, like, you know, not worth, but we're talking about it today. The good news is you're worth between $785 and $850 a year, million. Just ride that. Just ride it. That's a win, baby. Take the bag. Go home. Be winners. Lead from the front. Again, I think a problem with a lot of these companies is they're bringing in experts from different fields, like people that are from Sealy mattresses or whatever. It's like, come on. Like, they don't know our lane. Everybody has to have a mattress. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to buy a mattress. Not everybody buys a guitar. This is simple. This is simple stuff that a guy who plays them can see. Put me in the boardroom. I'll straighten it out. Call me, Fender. I'll be happy to straighten it out for you. I'll go in your boardroom and I'll spend about 20 minutes. We'll do it the office style. You know, it's like we'll do it just like that, where our office space, right? And I'll spend 20 minutes with each C-suite executive in Fender, and I will walk out and we'll have a meeting with the shareholders, and I will tell every shareholder who to keep and who not to. And it'll be that easy. And I bet the farm you'd make money the next year. But again, you could see this, be saying this, and be like, he's an egotistical prick. So I might be. You know what I mean? So like that's it, right? Willful thinker. Andy, would you demonstrate or describe bebop language briefly? There's no such thing as briefly. There's plenty of guys that can do it. And maybe in next week or the week after when I get back, we'll do some bebop stuff. I want to play live, but I don't have a band. Is it bad to make Suno music and play live guitar on top of tracks? I just want to play live guitar on backing tracks made by AI. Yeah, don't do that. There's too many great backing tracks available from musicians that spend time putting musicians in a studio to record them. Get real backing tracks. Also, hey, I would add this to it. If you're going to play live, you're going to play for an audience that wants to hear and be entertained. They're not going to care about AI music. They are not going to care. What I would recommend is having really great instrumental versions of pop tunes. Really great instrumental versions of, you know, every popular song out there. Bohemian Rhapsody to Benny and the Jets. You know, that's what I would recommend. When you say, I want to play live, there's a difference between saying, I want to play live and I want to entertain people. If you want to play live, just go out on the street and busk. But I don't think that's what you're saying. You know, I think you want to entertain people. If you want to entertain people, you got to play songs, man. Tommy Emmanuel. Tommy Emmanuel knows how to do it. He knows the game. Okay, GG Collar has said, I got my Woodshed compressor and gearbox on the board. I'm digging the tones. Thanks for keeping it real. I'm getting better because of you. Cheers, man. Thank you, sir. So Jackie Green says, I also wear wide brim fedora hats on the stage. Mine are like a cowboy kind of fedora. Mine are a little more of the style that like Ronnie Van Zant would wear. Neither here nor there. The hats that I buy, I've bought them from Snake Hats in Colombia, South America. I think it's Snake Hats. Or Serpentine Hats, something like that. My favorite hats I got from a company called Why Hats. Y-Hats on Instagram. Look him up. He's great. He makes them by hand. I've got several of those. Incredible. Love them. Studio 19 says Neil Sean has an awesome sense of melody and injects the faster riffs to fit the movement. Absolutely. Neil Sean is the blueprint for great phrasing, great melodicism. Yeah. Okay. Couple more questions. Beautiful Telly. I love that era of Fender. Yeah. This era was bomb, dude. I have two 90s Fender Tellys, and both from this era. Candyman says, hey, Chuck, where do I get the Discord link from Patreon? If you go into Patreon, and it'll be at the top on the main page, look in the combo tier, that cable. It's the second tier, the $10 tier. There'll be a link in there for that. And if you can't find it, just Instagram message me, and it'll populate. If not, you can hit up sales at Andy Wood Music, or you can message me on Instagram. Yeah. So, yeah. Earl says, Andy, have you checked out the Wampler pedal head? Don't have it. Want to check it out. Have one coming. Yes. D. Carver says, I can rarely finish a video because I get inspired. I have to hit the studio. Man, thank you. I appreciate that. So Sahar says, do you own a Dan Electro sitar? Always been meaning to pull a trigger on one. Never have. I want one. I don't have one. The last time I was at Nashville, I was at Carter Vintage, and they had one, and I almost bought it. I just didn't do it. So, yeah. Craig Rosen's in the house. Good to see Craig. Tim Pierce says it came from an empathetic perspective for those artist relations type of characters at Fender Music Incorporated. Yes, absolutely. Alex says, I'm very interested in how the day in the life of a guitar player looks like. What does your day look like when you wake up and go to sleep? How do you manage practice and everything? Just try to be consistent, man. 20 minutes is better than no minutes. 30 minutes is better than no minutes. But try to be consistent. Try to play the guitar every day. Got to play every day. Fender is privately owned. Maybe I'm using the wrong terminology. Fender might be privately owned, but I think there's an umbrella company that's publicly traded that owns them. But I could be wrong. However, the point is the same. You bring in the CEO, you bring in boardroom. Yeah, that's like you got a board of people making decisions. That's the point, okay? And I think the point sticks. Never Zach Down, great screen name, by the way, says, do you own a Flying V? I do not, but my good friend Phil does, and I have played one live, and I love it. I love playing Vs. Rich D3638 says, Andy, do you give private lessons? I do, Rich, and the only way I'm offering right now is through Patreon at the Monster tier. That's $100 a month, but in that $100, you get one 30-minute session. You get 4 live master classes that are 2 hours each, and then you get access to the 700 videos. It's my best deal that, it's like, I think it's a great deal. If you were to book me a la carte, it would be way more. Way more. So, yeah. Lana says, can you talk about your technique with the left hand? You once mentioned that you tap your fingers on the table. Yeah, just like you push the thumb in the neck. What's the posture of your thumb? Man, this is a huge question. Let's put a pin in the conversation today. Basically, the short end of it is if I were to hand you the remote to my blind, this is my remote for my blinds in the studio. If this were to be handed to me, it would come at me like this, and I would just grab it and that. This is the technique that I want for the neck of the guitar. Like if I were to take the neck of the guitar and I stick my hand out like this, I'm just going to drop the neck in. That's how I want to play right there. So like you can see, and then if I need to stretch farther, I'm going to pull down underneath. And if I want to play something with the thumb, I'm going to wrap around. But in general, it's a straight line, just like that. Fender is under Servco Pacific, as I understand. There you go. That's the answer. That's the answer we're looking for. This is from Hypothermic 19 says, you're great at making presets and patches. When are you going to have your own plugin? I would have my own plugin if I use plugins. This is a hot take. I'm going to say it. Here comes a hot take. Plugins are not fun. I just nuked so many people that I love. I nuked so many people just then. Plugins are not fun. They're not fun. There's nothing fun about like pulling it up on the screen and like, This is not fun. This is fun. I could touch it, pop it. It's tactile. I like cars. I don't like Teslas. However, I would own a Tesla or an electric car for that matter. I think Cadillac Lyriq is awesome. But it wouldn't be fun. It's something to take me somewhere. I would rather teleport if I could teleport. I like cars because they vibrate and they're loud and they touch it and steer it and change the gears. I like that in guitar gear. There's a reason I still use amps that I have to stand up out of my chair and be so ever inconvenient to walk over and flip it and turn the knob with my hand. It's like a child's toy. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's what makes guitar fun to me. Electric guitar is fun because it's tactile. I have no qualms with how plugins sound. They sound good. They sound good, man. That's how you get some good sounds. I mean, Corey Wong's plugin's great. You know, John Petrucci's got a great plugin. It's just not fun, though. It's not fun. You know what I mean? I want to have a good time. I just want to have a fun time when I'm playing the guitar. I want to be inspired. I'm not looking for the path of least resistance. That's another thing that I think is weird. Guitarists are oftentimes looking for the quickest, fastest. How do I do it the quickest? How do you do it? Why? What are you in a hurry for? Make something fun and enjoy the process of it. That's why I think playing to an iPad sucks. That's why I'm not very inspired. Truthfully, I'm not very inspired when I play the backing tracks on live streams and stuff. I'd rather play with a band that knows my songs and improvise and push and pull and have a couple of 412s on stage. I think that's fun. I think that, to me, has to be the center of the universe of why I do it. And if this isn't the center of the universe, then I'm essentially lying to myself because I should probably go do something else. And when I see that old Marshall right there, when I go touch it, I go, this belonged to Eric. I don't know what Eric Johnson songs were recorded on this amp. I don't know what stages this has been on with Eric Johnson. And now I'm changing the volume of it and the bass. And it's like wielding King Arthur's sword Excalibur. It's cool. It's just cool. This old amp up here, this old 63 Deluxe Reverb, it's from 1963. That's just cool. You know, am I looking for the perfect Fender tone that can be recreated every time and pull up a plug-in and blah? It's like it's not cool. There's something cool about touching knobs and turning it on and smelling the tubes and like all of the things that make a 1967 GTB4 cam one of the greatest Ferraris of all time. Is it the fastest? Of course not. Is it the most luxurious? Of course not. Is it even the best looking Ferrari of all time? An argument can be made. But I don't think it's the most beautiful Ferrari of all time. But it is absolutely conversationally in the debate for coolest Ferrari of all time. A muscle car, a 63 to 65 Corvette C2. It's not fast, not the fastest. It's not the most luxurious, but God, it's cool. And when you get in it, you're just like, dang, brother, this is cool. That emotional response is what I hear when I hear a Van Halen record. Is Ed Van Halen the most technical, complete guitar player of all time? Of course not. No, he wasn't. He never has been. Does he write cool songs? Yeah. Does he write cool riffs? Yeah. Does his technique lead him to cool sounds? Yeah. Ed's cool. I think there's an intangible factor that I look for in any aspect of music, and it's cool factor. I like it. Do I need to wear a sparkly embroidered sport coat on stage with a big hat and aviators? No, I don't. But I do, because I think that looks cool. That reminds me of Billy Gibbons. Billy Gibbons is one of the coolest guys of all time. But you know what I can't do? I can't wear the hat that he wears and the style of shades that he wears and grow this giant beard. And I can't do what he does. I can't wear a top hat. You know what I mean? It's like I can't wear my heroes things. I can't wear a dragon suit like Jimmy Page. But like elevating to have something special when you're on stage, that matters. That's something that matters to me. The aspect of live music matters. And again, this is a whole offshoot and a whole random tangent, but you ask a great question. And the question was, Andy, you're great at making patches. Why do you not have a plug-in? It's like, brother, it's just not cool. Plug-ins just ain't cool. Nothing cool about my laptop. My laptop and my desktop, you know what they do? They remind me of 400 emails that I've not responded to. They remind me of my bills that are on auto draft. They remind me of the worst aspects of life that I do not want to deal with. So when I go to play guitar, I do not want to see that. I don't want to see this thing. I don't like this stuff. Chuck loves technology. I like technology aimed in certain directions. But I don't really want to sit down with the latest, greatest laptop and plug my guitar into it. That just sucks. I don't like that. If you're using technology to build the biggest horsepower naturally aspirated V8 like Chevrolet did, flat plane crank, 650-ish horsepower, yeah, I like that technology. I think that's cool because you can touch it. It's real. You know what I mean? Ones and zeros just aren't fun. And again, it all goes back to fun. It only revolves around what I think is fun, you know? What's that Marshall worth? True World says, what's that Marshall worth? You'd have to make it worth it to me. And that just turns into like a nothing burger. Like if you guys wanted to buy this amp, it would just turn into like, I would be Dr. Evil. $100 million. It's like, it just turns into a number that's not, I would care more about who bought it. You know what I mean by that? Like if, Matteo Mancuso hit me up and was like, Andy, I really want that Marshall. I'd be like, brother, it's going to cost you. But I know that Matteo would play it. You know, that's what matters. It's cool. It needs to be played. It needs to be driven. Freddie Van Halen has got himself the Ferrari Red AW. It is killer guitar. Yeah. Plinto Sunshine says the real Stingrays. Hey man, hot take. I love a C3. Big fender flares. Big block. C3's cool. Don't sleep on it. Hey, C7 is cool. I love a C7. I love a C6. I think all in all, freaking Vet has had a great run. They've had a great career. Corvette, they've had a good run. The ultimate vehicles to shred from the masses is EVH's song, right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we're gonna call it right there, and what we're gonna do is just say we'll pick up next time. This has been a great hang. I hope the front half of this video got you some good stuff to take with you for your playing, and I hope the back half of this video was a good hang. Testing the waters. I may start doing quicker short form video. A lot of my videos have been, they've got a lot of editing and quick clips and comparisons and all that stuff. If you would be interested in quicker, just put the camera up and riffing off the top of my head type content, let me know. I don't know if that's something you guys are into or not, but it's something I'm toying with just so I can just put up more stuff and it not be so over the top. You know what I mean? Edited, I can do quicker stuff if it doesn't have to be chopped and, all the things, all the gloss. So with that said, yeah, from me and the very first guitar, this is the one that started it right here. hope you guys have a great week. I'm going to go on tour tomorrow and be back Sunday, Monday. Just a quick weekend run. But yeah, and I hope everyone has a great week. Be blessed. Reminder, if you do enjoy these streams, think about going over to Patreon and throwing some beer money in the bucket. The old patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. Great community over there. And then, of course, we're only a month away from Woodshed Guitar Experience. Use code AWOOD300 for a $300 discount. I don't even know if we have slots left available or not. I think we do. WoodshedGuitarExperience.com. This year is Eric Gales, John Jorgensen, Justin Derrico, myself, Martin Miller, and a bevy of other surprises for you. Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. Thanks, everyone. Love you guys. Be blessed. See you soon.